guys, this is the Real Hadeel podcast, and today I have Linda, who's going to talk to us more about how to be an expert in networking. So Linda, tell us more about what you do and see what kind of tips and wisdom she can give us to our viewers.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Hadeel, for inviting me to speak here. This is really exciting.
Good.
And I'm just so excited for what you're doing and the people that you're talking to.
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right, so what I do is I help people turn their contacts into clients.
Oh, I like that.
I know, that's exciting.
I'm sure people are ready to sign up now.
I hope so. Yes. So what I've noticed here, especially in the DC metro area, is that people network. It's like a really big thing here, bigger than anywhere else I've ever seen it.
It's huge.
Yes. But I've noticed that people are networking and not getting the business that they could get out of networking. And that's what I do, is I help them turn that around.
You give them a strategy.
I do. Beyond that, it's big.
So I'm excited to hear more about this, because I network all the time, and this is going to really help us all. So tell me then, give me your definition of what is networking.
Okay. I think that there is a misunderstanding of what networking really is. All networking is looking for friends.
Okay.
It's that simple. Just go out and look for friends. So you're like, really? If it's that simple, I could have done it when I was 6 years old. But actually, yes. When you were 6 years old, you were networking.
I like that. It makes it less threatening, you know?
Yes.
You just go out there and you just meet somebody.
That's right.
Okay.
Look for friends. So that's the main. That is what networking really is. You're going out and you're building your circle of friends, because you're not going to do business with everyone out there.
Right.
You are only going to do business with a select group of people, and you're only going to be surrounded by people who like you. So why not turn them into friends? Why keep them as business associates or clients? Just turn them into friends. Life gets so much more fun when you turn them into friends.
I like that. I like that a lot, because when I was first starting to network, I couldn't, especially when I first started my business, I was like, I can't get out of bed because I was so nervous. I was like, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm usually very outgoing and outspoken, and I can go out there and meet people, but I was so intimidated by the idea of networking, because I was like, well, what if they think I'm phony? What if they don't like me? What if this, and this? Because my mindset was, I need to go out there and get clients, and I need to close deals, so that therefore I need to start networking. So it was such a huge, I put so much stress on me, but in reality, like, I'm going out there just to meet people and just maybe possibly make a friend out of it and see where that goes, you know? And if we want to do business together, then we do business together. But you can do that if you, I'm assuming you're going to tell us more, is like the strategy. So tell me when, I guess I'm going to speak for my own, and I know a lot of people feel the same way because I've spoken to so many about this. How do you get rid of the fear of networking? You know, what's the baby steps you can take from your experience, you can take right now to just at least get yourself out there and go and talk to people? I know the idea first, the mindset change, right? We just talked about that. Just think of friends, just think of them as a friend. That's all you're doing. You're just going to talk to someone. Yes. Then what's the next step? The next step is to figure out the best time of day to do it. So that is another benefit of being here in the DC metropolitan area, because there is networking that starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and goes on until 10 o'clock at night. It's not all the same thing, thank God, but different groups meet during all those different times. So figure out the time of day that you are at your best to meet people. So personally for myself, mornings are my high productivity time. Okay. Evenings are I'm almost ready for bedtime. I'm basically an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. So I like that quiet time where I can just be with myself and kind of chill with myself. Calm down. And and when I start to get tired, I can't override my introvertedness with my extrovertedness when I'm tired. It gets really difficult. So the best time for me to meet and talk to people is the middle of the afternoon, because all those things that are weighing on me that I have to get done, I've got to get that email out, I've got to make that phone call, get those out of the way first thing in the morning, and then go out in the afternoon and have fun. So afternoon events are the best for me. So you just have to find what is the best time for you. Don't go out when you're tired, because if you're afraid,
you won't have the willpower to battle that fear. Then you need to be able to stand tall and confident if you're afraid to network, to get past that fear.
Wow, that's so powerful, because I never even thought of it that way. I literally, I'm just the type of person, I'm like, okay, well, there's this networking event at 7 a.m., there's this networking event at 10, then I have to go to one in the afternoon, and then there's a happy hour at night. And I'm just like networking, and I'm not even thinking that maybe there's a better time for me where I can network, and I don't need to go to 5 different networking events in one day. I could just go to one and do really well with that one and get like really good contacts, and also be on my A game.
Yes.
Instead of going out there and actually like go through all this whole schedule of networking. You never get work done because of that.
Exactly.
So then I'm like running into these days, because I'm like, I used to just focus on work, and I'm like, I'm not meeting more people. And I flipped, now I'm doing the extreme. I'm like, oh no. Girl, you gotta find your balance.
That's right. And you have to remember that if your business is new,
right,
especially if your business is new, you do need to be out there marketing yourself, to get your name out there. I'm the person who sells this product or sells this service. Your name has to so you do have to get out there. But the best way to get out there is to pick the time of day that you're the best, go to one meeting, and you probably do one meeting a week if it's a large enough meeting. Then use the other days to set up one-to-ones. You don't get to know people in a networking event. You get to meet them. You need to get to know them to turn them into friends, or to determine if there's somebody you want to turn into a friend. You're never going to do that in any networking meeting, whether it's a cocktail party or a round table lead share, or
BNI,
a BNI, or Nexco, or any of those where you stand up and you give your 30-second commercial, and you listen to everybody give their 30-second commercial. They all sit down, there's a topic, and you all go away. There's no connections being made. You're hearing clues. Oh, I do this, they do that. We might be good collaboratively. That's a good idea. Ooh, yeah, he's a plumber and my sink is leaking. I might need him. So you're hearing those things, but until you sit down and talk to them, you don't know if you want to work with them. And you need to take that time, and that 1 hour time. So a one-to-one, for people who don't know what they are 1 hour of sitting down with a person, just like we're sitting down, one-to-one. The first time you do it, do not talk business. Talk personal.
Build rapport.
Yes, absolutely. So find out, do they have kids? Are they married? Where do they live? If they live in the city, that just opens up all these questions you can ask about living inside the city itself. If they live out in the burbs, how far out are they? And so many questions just come out of that. Find out where they went to high school, where they went to college. You're looking for commonality. Once you hit that commonality, game on.
That's it. They all want to be your friend now.
Exactly.
I love what you just said there, because wow, this is so powerful, because people are so stuck on networking and the idea of it and everything that they forget how to go about it, if that makes any sense. Like for me, I'm a very go, just do. And sometimes I forget, like, wait, think about it for a second. How are you doing this? Sometimes I'm like, do. Okay, I messed up there. Let me do this way instead, But like, if I just sat there for like maybe an hour before doing anything and just really looked into, okay, understand the idea of networking, then maybe I would have saved myself a lot of time earlier on, Yes. And like right now, you just said something so powerful. Networking events are not meant for you to build connections. They're just meant for you to get the number, get the name. You guys have similarities? Awesome. Now let's set up a one-to-one to meet each other and actually get to know each other there.
Yes.
So in reality, if you do it that way, you're spending maybe like 20 minutes in the networking event, max, usually. Or 30 minutes. It could be an hour, because if there's like, depending on how many people are there, if it's like 10, 15, or maybe 100, then okay, you're staying there longer. But if you do that effectively, then you're in and out. And then you can go on and do whatever you got to do next.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
It's just like this is all happening right now.
Yeah, so to go on, so some of the meetings are scheduled, so you have to walk in the door at 7, and you don't get to walk out until 8:30. If you do, you're rude.
It's like a BNI.
Yeah, a BNI, like any of those scheduled meetings. But a cocktail party. Exactly. So here's another secret for a cocktail party.
Okay, go for it.
Challenge yourself.
Challenge yourself. Okay,
yes.
I like that.
So your goal is to get the one-to-one.
Okay.
That's your challenge.
Okay.
Your challenge is to get to talk to 5 people, a minimum of 5 people, and get 3 one-to-one appointments.
So like before you leave, you set that up there.
Before you walk out the door, this is your challenge to yourself. I'm going to walk into this cocktail party. I'm going to talk to a minimum of 5 people. I'm going to get a minimum of 3 one-to-one appointments. Now, if you get really good at it, 5 will get you 3. At first, though, you might have to talk to 10 to get 3.
Right.
But your minimum, even if you get 3, you talk to 3 people, 1, 2, 3, you've got, nope, stick around, talk to 2 more people. If you do this really well, you can be out of there in a half an hour. There's no reason to hang around a cocktail party.
Right.
There just isn't.
Right.
You hit your goal, unless you're waiting for someone specific. If you're waiting for someone specific, find out when they're going to show up.
Right.
Because a lot of these cocktail parties are 4 to 8.
It's
So
too
you've
long.
got the people that come from 4 to 6, and then the people that come from 6 to 8. So find out if the person you're looking for is in that first group or the second group,
Right.
and then you show up during that first time or the second time in order to meet them, and do as much research as you can to find out about this person. What time do they normally show up when they
Right.
go to this event, so that you're not stuck
Right.
twiddling your thumbs, getting bored, ready to fall asleep,
Right.
while you're waiting for this person to show up.
I like that you said that, though, to set up those one-to-ones there, because something that happens with me a lot, you're just busy when you're starting your business, or you're just running a business in general.
Right.
You're constantly busy. So to remember to email those people you met at the networking event can get very overwhelming
Right.
and just pile more on your list. So the fact that you said, set up those one-to-ones there,
Yes.
you just saved yourself like an hour of emailing people. You simply
did.
just put in your calendar now, okay, cool, I'll see you then,
Right.
And then you just do a follow-up email, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
It's more effective.
Yes.
love
And you
that.
do a reminder. Always do a reminder.
Yeah.
Do a reminder. I send my reminders out at like 7 o'clock the night before, and I text. I text the reminder to their phone. Hey, I just want to check in with you, make sure everything's still on track, and you're going to be at such and such a place at such and such a time tomorrow.
Right.
And then I get the yes or no. Sometimes I get the oh no, I forgot to tell you,
Right.
which
It's annoying.
that's just irritating. But
It's annoying.
yeah, that is. But thank God I checked in.
Right.
Because otherwise I would have driven there.
Exactly.
So there's a couple other things you can do when you're setting up the one-to-ones. See if you can get them all on the same day.
Okay.
If Tuesday is your day, see if you can get people to all meet you on a Tuesday, because a one-to-one for a lot of people is kind of exhausting because you are being vulnerable, you are being open, you're trying to draw them out to
Right.
get to
They're
know them.
listening. It's exhausting.
Yes, it is exhausting.
People don't think that, but it's so tiring to be
Yes.
a people person. It's
Yes,
so hard.
it is tiring to be a people person. That's excellent. Yes, it is.
I love people, but oh my God.
Yes, it is. It is because you are so there.
Yeah.
We're so used to being able to take breaks. In fact, there's a business thing out there that says when you're sitting at your desk, get up every 25 minutes
Right.
and walk around for 5 minutes and sit back down. So we're even being trained we need to be taking breaks. In a one-to-one, you're not taking a break. You're in the moment
Yeah.
for 60 minutes. You're in the
Can't
moment.
doze off,
No.
nothing, because it's like if you do, it looks so bad on you. And
Yes.
you're just like, I want to give this person 1 hour of my time.
Yes.
So I'm going to sit here and just listen. And you're
That's
like-
right.
And you're just like, oh no.
And
It's
think how
exhausting.
honoring that is. You're really honoring that person
Yeah.
by giving them 60 minutes of undivided attention. And one of the in today's society, one of the biggest things people are missing is someone to listen to them
Yes.
and someone to understand them. So you being willing to do that, you're honoring them, you're giving them a gift. They may not even realize it, but you are. You're giving them a gift of your time and attention. It is exhausting. So
be heard.
yes, I set up a maximum of 3 in any one day. I try to get them to come to the same place. So a Panera that's kind of central to the city or whatever, and I give myself a half-hour break in between. So schedule one at 1, one at 2:30, one at 4. That half hour break in between, sometimes you find such rapport, it runs over.
Right.
Well, I mean, look at us. We had one for 2.5 hours the other day.
I know.
So,
it was a long, I remember my brother was sitting there because he was doing his work for the business,
Right.
and he looked at me. He was like, "Man." Afterwards, he's like, "You really had a good one-to-one, didn't you?" I was like, "Yeah, it was really good. It was really long."
yeah. But we passed a lot of business, and
I mean, because we know each other for a while. So
and came up with a lot of ideas and stuff like that. So, but that half hour break, sometimes they run over, and then you have to get up and walk around, go to the bathroom, get another drink. I mean, like tea, not, wine. Yeah, you got to be awake. You got to be awake and ready to pay attention to everybody, all 3 of them. But that I only do 3, and then I'm exhausted for the rest of the day. So just be aware of that. So, but if you can do that, that keeps you from driving, and if they're doing the driving to come to meet you, and then you can, and then you've got 3 done for the entire week. Right. And you've gotten to know these people, you can determine if they're somebody you want to collaborate with, somebody you want to be a friend, you know what to do with them. Right. Once you have that hour, you know what to do with them. So,
would you say it's good or bad for someone who's consistently scheduling one-to-ones every single day to like 5 p.m.? Would you say that's a good or bad thing?
What are the one-to-ones accomplishing?
Building relationships and hopefully potentially introducing you to get more clients, or could be your clients, depending on who it is, to see, you're building rapport, so you're trying to figure it out. Because for example, me, when I was first starting out, I would consistently schedule one-to-ones from like 9 a.m. in the morning till probably, most people stop around 6 p.m. Okay. Max. I don't, after that, no one ever wants to meet later on, unless they're like either my age and they're kind of like, in the same situation. Yeah. It was exhausting. It was so exhausting, and I was just like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, is this going to happen until I get a sale, or until I get a client, or you know what I mean? Wow. So it's until now, my brother and I were like, you know what? We gotta put in work. Time to do our work for our clients. And I don't know how you feel about this, but does it make sense to schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday only to go out and network, and then the rest of the days just focus on doing work? I don't know, that's
up to you and how you're structured. So I'm a person, that's how I would do it, because once I focus on something, that's the part of my brain I go into. So, all those tests you can take and brain tests and all of that. So it turns out some people are creative and some people are the other side, mathematic and all that. So I'm balanced on both sides. But it's really hard for me to flip back and forth. So if I'm in my accounting brain and doing my finances for my business, it's really hard for me to interrupt and have a one-to-one. Right. So for me, it's better if I can do that. Either split the day, which is what I normally do. I split the day, and then lunch is my break, and then I can get into the other mind and go do one-to-ones. And I did that even when I was going to college. Right. I did art degree, so I did one whole semester of all art classes, and the other semester was all the other,
all technical,
all that other stuff, the English and the science and all that stuff.
I had to have a fun time. Like when I was in school, it was like I needed to have painting or something.
Oh, and so that was your break, but that was my major. So when I'm in that creative mind, I have to stay in my creative mind. When I'm in the other mind, I have to stay in that mind. So for me, that was better to break it up like that. But some people may not be like that. They may be, I'll go to my office and I'll balance my books, but God, I need that one-to-one at 10 o'clock, that kind of thing. They might need that as their reward for doing the office stuff, or vice versa. I'll go do that one-to-one at 8 o'clock, and then thank God I'm going back to my office to do my books. So
it's crazy.
I'm out of here. So
it really just depends, I guess.
Yeah, it just depends on you as a person and how much you enjoy it. So some people, I met a person, and this is really funny because he teaches networking. Okay. He does not like one-to-ones.
Interesting.
They're very uncomfortable for him.
Oh.
He loves group training, though. Put him in a room of 100 people, he is all on fire.
Interesting.
But the one-to-ones are uncomfortable for him. So
because he doesn't want to open up too much, and he's just kind of uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, I have
like,
no idea.
No one's going to ask you, like, what is your why, sir? And in front of
That's
everybody,
right.
you know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
It's like, it's not a question you're going to ask.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to know if you're one of those people who doesn't enjoy the one-to-one, you've got to realize that you're not going to be a person that books from 9 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Yeah. So here's the next thing. Your one-to-one, that first one-to-one is just to know them.
Right.
And decide, are they somebody you want to be a friend with or not? If not, you put them in your CRM as somebody you've met and spent an hour with, and they're just kind of out there.
Right.
So we'll deal with them a little later. If there's somebody you want to be a friend with, what is it that you want to be a friend with them? What is that about? At what level? Right. So is it a friend because you both have 2-year-olds and you want to have, wow, that's really great. Your businesses don't interact. You don't have the same client base, nothing, but you both have 2-year-olds and wow, play dates.
Right.
How fun is that be?
Right.
Yeah. So then you want to slide them over into that personal range. You've met in a business scenario. Right. If you run into somebody they can use, you'll do a referral, vice versa, but you've put them into that family friend kind of world category. So you have to make that determination when you're after that first one, what are you going to do with them? And then you have to decide how you're going to connect with them after that. So in the instance of a play date, you're going to pick up the phone and go, hey, can we get little Maribel together with little Annabelle and have them play. I mean, that's going to be really personal, really friendly, really. But if there's somebody you think you're going to get business out of that you want to have as a client, you're going to go after them in a different way.
Right.
You're going to try and put them into your cycle. You're still going to reach out to them. It's all personal. You're still going to reach out to them personally, but you're going to start introducing your products in some way. So whether, there's a great event that is about your product or your industry that you'd want to invite them along. You're going to be doing things that bring them into your circle and slowly introduce them to what you do and what the benefit is, so that when they finally realize, oh my God, yes, I do need a marketing person, and who else would I go to but you?
Because you build that relationship with
exactly.
them. Right.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay.
So just having a one-to-one isn't beneficial if you don't know what to do with them once you've had that conversation, which that is, your CRM system needs to be a really powerful, robust CRM system. Because networking is all about meeting people. You have to get these names in your system. You have to categorize them in your system. You've got to figure out what your follow-up system is for that person. And they're individuals. You can't, that person that you know that you're never gonna, that you can't imagine right now how you're gonna do business with, they can kind of go into a rote contact system. So you're gonna, send them an email, and you can set it's automated. Those people you can put on an automated drip system because you didn't click. You don't see how you're going to do business together, but you met them.
They're acquaintance.
Yeah, they are an acquaintance. So you want to keep in touch with them, but it doesn't have to be really personal. It can be on an automated drip system. But get some good things in there.
Right.
Get a birthday card in there. Call them at least once a year, because you don't want them to forget that you. And then you're begging a friend to go, can you reintroduce me to this person?
Yeah. I've seen that. That's happened to me before. Yes. But you know what? I kind of got around with that actually, is I add everybody on Facebook. So I changed. So some people don't feel comfortable doing this, but something that my brother and I have came up with is. We changed our Facebook to be more business professional almost. So we wouldn't put anything that's very political or anything like that. We would just make it just more so about what we're documenting our life during our time building relationships and running our business.
Right.
So every time we meet someone at a networking event, we get their card and we add them on Facebook. If they choose to add us back, then obviously they're okay with us, being on their Facebook. If they don't, then they don't, and it's no hard feelings, But the beauty of when you add people on Facebook, you're always in sight and in mind kind of thing. Like not out of sight, out of mind. Now you're always there. So when people are looking through the newsfeed, they're seeing, hey, our workshop that we just held, or hey, my new podcast that I just put out, or hey, this new interview, this this is what I did today for my client. So they're
Right.
always seeing me do things, right? And
Yes.
and the beauty of that, which led to us getting actually a client out of that. And he was just like, oh, he came up to us. He's like, I'm seeing you guys do cool stuff. Would love it if you can help us with our marketing. It just makes you more credible, and also they remember you. So
Absolutely.
that's like one strategy I thought I'd share.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And I add them as soon as I put them in in my CRM. I send a request to be linked on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn's one. LinkedIn's a
Yes.
great place too.
Yeah, so that's my first. My next is Facebook. What I have found is if I overwhelm them and send them a hey, so glad to meet you email, ask to be connected on LinkedIn, those people tolerate those two together. But then if I ask Facebook right after that, people are like, whoa, wait a minute. They really want to get into my life. So so once I can set up the one-to-one, once they accept the LinkedIn, then after the one-to-one is when I add them to Facebook.
Exactly. I never add them on Facebook when I meet them at a networking.
Right,
I always wait to add that one-to-one because I want to make sure I want them on my Facebook.
That's right.
I'm like,
That's
I don't
right.
want to some weirdo. But always make sure to do that. That's a good point to bring up because if you just add a bunch of people you just met, like that's just, Facebook's kind of a little bit personal, it's like the second date. You got to take your time.
That's right. That's right.
First you can go ahead and email them, maybe do the LinkedIn, but then after that, baby steps.
Yeah. And the reason I think it's important to be connected on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and if you do Snapchat or Instagram,
I think Instagram's probably more. Snapchat's weird. Snapchat's like real personal. I think.
Yeah. But people communicate in different places. I mean, a lot of people don't even look at their emails anymore.
Right.
So how do you get a hold of them?
Right.
Or how do you keep them in the loop? You kind of have to, it depends on you and how good you are at it. So you can either go one place and expect them to come to you, or you can go all of those places looking for them. I choose go one place, let them look for you. So your email, or not, I'm sorry, your Facebook is your place. You set it up, you're active on Facebook, they see what's going on. If they follow Facebook, they're going to know all about you.
Right.
If they're only a LinkedIn person, they're never going to accept you, and they're not going to see a lot of what's going on with you because you're hanging over here in Facebook. But that's okay.
Right.
Because we can't be everywhere all the time.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's a very good point.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you some questions, maybe more specifically to networking. For example, little strategies. I know we talked about this before. When you go to a networking event, sometimes, I know for me, and I know a lot of people have this trouble too, when you want to go talk to someone and they're already in a group talking to somebody else, right? How do you put yourself or position yourself in a place where you can almost, it's like you can go ahead and you can speak to them without being rude. Like if you're talking to someone right now and I'm coming up and I'm like, oh, I want to speak to her. And it's been like 30 minutes and you've been always looking at her, but you still can't get her attention, right?
Right.
How do you politely go up to them and professionally, say, hey, I would love to speak to you for a second, or hey, I would love to, how would you break that conversation with someone else and just
you just did it.
Okay.
You just said, hey, I'd like to speak to you. So first of all, you want to look at their body language.
Okay.
So if they are standing, and it's hard to do this when we're just sitting, but if they are standing kind of at angles with each other and their toes are facing away, kind of out where they're going to meet in this triangle out here, you can easily break into that. They're saying, hey, we're open to anybody interrupting. No big deal. Just walk right up, do what you just did. Hey, don't mean to interrupt, but I'd love to talk to you for a few seconds. And apologize to the other person. So don't apologize to the person you're interrupting. The other person, because you're basically kicking that other person out in the cold, right? So apologize to them and then grab the attention of this person. But if they are facing each other and their toes are pointing to each other, I would hesitate to interrupt that for a while. I would watch it for a little bit to see if you see one person kind of moving around, showing signs that they're uncomfortable and they're ready to break away.
They're done with this conversation.
And they just don't know how. Then go ahead and interrupt. But if they're like heads close together, they're really talking, don't interrupt. You will not be seen as a welcome intrusion at all. So just kind of pay attention to the body language. Another way to do it is especially if there's more than 2 people there, say there are 3 people in the group, and you want to talk to the guy that's over here, don't stand behind him. Stand across from him. Outside of the group, but stand across from him and look at him to see if you can get his attention, or her. If they are good networkers, they will pull you into the group and they'll introduce you to everyone. If they're not, or they don't know how to do that, you're going to have to interrupt, just like you did before, where you walk into the group and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I really need to talk to you for a couple of seconds if you guys don't mind, and apologize to the other people and pull that person out.
Yeah, that's also a good tip. And one thing I've done in the past that's worked for me, at least too, is when I would want to break into the group, sometimes I know they're having a conversation, and for me, being in that position, like, oh, it's annoying when someone comes in, and if it's a good conversation, you're like, ugh, I wanted to finish what I was going to say, right?
That's right.
Or what they were telling me. And something that I like to do is when I break that in the most polite way as I can, I will also just say, hey, just want to get your card. I know you're busy. Maybe I can just reach out to you and ask you a few questions, or we can set up a one-to-one soon.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Just take it and go.
Yeah.
So as long as you got their information, I can talk to you later,
Yeah, that's absolutely excellent. So the other point, if you are the person in the group and someone is trying to get your attention, be generous.
Yeah.
Don't make them stand out there in the cold. If you see them waiting for you, you should interrupt what's going on in your circle and say, hey guys, I'm going to have to interrupt a second. I think this lady, if they don't know you, I think this lady might want to speak to somebody in the group, because they don't know exactly who you are. But I think this lady might want to speak to somebody. And then they interrupt. I mean, that's what being a good host is all about, and and really when you're in a circle, you are creating a hostess situation. So, you can invite or walk away or any of those things.
And that's so important, because we as humans sometimes tend to victimize ourselves, and we're like, oh, like, I don't know why I didn't do, like, oh, you're just like always like, oh, they didn't do this, so, I'm not going to do it, or this and that. Sometimes if you want to see change in networking, you have to change yourself.
Yes.
And like, for example, what you just said there is very powerful. It's like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. So if you were in that situation, you need to also respond this way too.
Yes.
I don't remember what it was, the other day or something, and I didn't pick up on what I did. Sometimes I didn't realize what I was doing, right? Until someone after came up to me. And I'm talking to a group, and I see this girl kind of just like by herself. She's like, you could tell like in her eyes she wants to join the group, but she doesn't know how. She's kind of shy. Right. So I naturally I was just like, hey, what's your name? I cut someone off. I was like, oh, wait, 1 second. I think someone, let's try to get her in our group. And I was like, hey, how are you? Like, how are you doing? And she was like, oh, okay, my name is this. And I brought her into the group, and we all introduced each other. And then afterwards, someone came up to me and was like, oh, that was really cool of you to do. Someone was like, I was watching you network, and you're really good at getting people to feel comfortable around you.
Ah, nice.
And I was like, oh, thanks. And I just didn't understand until I picked up on what he said afterwards. He was explaining it to me,
right. And
then I understood it. So that's something that's very powerful, because sometimes people, and it goes into the dating world a little bit. It's kind of like when a woman turns down a guy right away, right? When he approaches her, and she's just like, oh, I don't want to talk to you, or like, I have a boyfriend, bye, kind of thing. Like, totally, like,
talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand, kind of thing, right? It really goes hand in hand, because people are watching you react to him that way. As a woman, if you're attractive and there's a man who has the nerve and the guts to come up to you and speak to you, the courage, and you just turn him down so quickly, you just turned down 10 other guys that were staring at you.
Yes, you
could have been someone you wanted to talk to,
That's
right? And then and I took it in a way in networking too. As soon as I was like, there's someone there who probably wants to talk to me too, like, let me introduce her to everyone else. It made it just easier and natural for everyone else around me to come talk to me. And I didn't notice any of this until maybe it was like my brother, someone else. It was a friend who came with me. And she was new to the whole networking thing. She told me these things, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. Like, sometimes you're just not aware of what you do. Right. And when she said that, it was so powerful that I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I repeat that consistently, because clearly that worked. And clearly that made people want to come talk to me. Yes. And it just made my job easier as a networker to not have to reach out to everybody, Right. Yeah. So I thought that was a tip I should
that's
share.
Awesome. So if we go back to the person who's a little frightened to network. So what you can do is you can show up at an event 10 to 15 minutes early.
Okay.
And if it's a big event where there's a sign-in table and there's a hostess or the person that's running it, there at that time is like their twilight time.
Right.
It's before people show up, before the event starts, but everything is ready.
Right.
So they're just kind of hanging by the front door because there's nothing for them to do right now.
They're just waiting for people.
Perfect time for you to show up early.
Right.
You sign in, you start chatting people up, they're starting to ask you questions because they're still fresh. But there is the organizer.
Right.
Go up to the organizer, introduce yourself, and say, "Hey, organizer, do you know if you know the name of a person that you expect to be there, are you expecting such and such a person?" Because the organizer usually finds out if somebody has to back out or something happens. They get the RSVP or the cancellation or whatever. So, but if you're looking for an industry, you can say, "Hey, organizer, I'm looking for somebody in residential mortgage. Do you expect anyone in that industry here?" And she'll say, "Yes.
Right.
Joe is coming." And you're going to go, "Wow, Joe, when he shows up, would you mind introducing me to Joe?" She'll go, "Absolutely." She's got nothing else to do right now. So she's going to do that. So that organizer and the lead, the facilitator of any group is the most powerful person in the room. Get that person early when they're fresh, before they're being pulled 15 different directions. Introduce yourself, ingratiate yourself to them. So when you show up at that time, you can also ask, is there anything you can do? Hey, are you guys all set up? Is there anything you need to be done before everybody gets here?
Right.
And they're going to usually say, no, there's nothing. Thank you for asking. That's it. Thank you for asking.
Right.
So you've ingratiated yourself to them. You're asking for their advice. You're asking for them to introduce you to somebody. And I'll tell you something about most organizers. They're organizers because they want to be organizers. They like organizing. Right. They like introducing people to each other. They like that. That makes them feel good. It makes them feel important. It's how they see themselves as a connector.
Right.
So giving them an opportunity to connect you right up front is great.
Right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it because most people are afraid, like me, I was one of them, afraid to go early to a networking event. I'm like, I don't want to be the first one there. That's weird. That's nerve-wracking. Like, what am I going to do? But in reality, there's so much you could do. There's so many people, and there's the most important people are there early because they're the ones setting up the event. The organizer, like you said, is the head poncho. He's the guy or the gal who's going to be introducing you to all the people that are coming in because they brought them there.
Yes.
So that's powerful. I didn't know.
So here's the next thing you can do.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you're there early, and the organizer is the official hostess or host, right? They're standing close to the door. You can stand in a little bit further into the room, but still in line with the door, so as people pass, and in your mind, you become the host or hostess. You're hostess number 2.
Okay.
You've gotten there early. You've gotten a lay of the land. You know that the bar is over there. The food is over there. The hot dishes are over there. The bathrooms are down the hall and around the corner. You can become that second host. People don't realize that you're not.
They don't ask.
They don't ask, "Oh, are you officially a part of this event?" No. But you're going to start to hear people because they're coming into the room.
Right.
And they're kind of looking around to see if there's anybody they know or what they might want to do. If you catch them right there and say, "Hi, I'm Linda. What brings you here today?" And they'll go, "Oh, well, I love so-and-so, and she always has great events." And really, did you want to get a drink? Yeah, I think I do want to get a drink. Do you have your tickets? Yeah, I've got my tickets. Well, right over there in that corner bar. Right there.
Right.
Done.
Okay.
Yeah.
It also makes you credible.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Because the hostess is so busy meeting people, she isn't giving them directions and help unless somebody specifically says, "Where's the bathroom?"
Right.
So she's playing the role of the invitation. She's letting you in the door.
Right.
People need that second person that helps them get organized and get acclimated to the area. And you can play that role really casually, and if you're tired of doing it or get into a good conversation and you're not playing that role anymore, Nobody will miss you.
Right.
Because you weren't doing it anyway.
Yeah.
You weren't hired to do it anyway. Yeah, you weren't hired to do it anyway. Yeah, some people hang out by the food table, at the end of the food table. Now, I don't do that necessarily.
Why? Because they just want to eat, or is
yes,
okay,
yes, yeah. Because when they're coming off at the end of the food table, I also know people who've gotten in line a couple of times. Because when you get in line and are going down the line for the food, people talk to you. So you don't really fill up your plate too much, but you come back around and get in line again and talk to a few more people. So it gives you a commonality there. Right there. So those are just little tricks you can do if you want to have fun doing it. You know, so you get in line 3 times. Who's going to know? No one will notice. Just don't fill up your plate 3 times. Not everyone sees that. Yeah, yeah. But who cares if you get in line 3 times just to talk to people?
I love it. I love it.
So,
well, my next question is, okay, so let's transition a little bit to now. What if it's someone you're talking to, and he's, as a woman, I mean, I can definitely say that this is common for us, men too. I'm sure you guys will probably run into people you don't want to talk to. How do you get out of a situation where you meet someone who's kind of creepy, or she's kind of creepy, or it's kind of like, all right, you're a little weird, and I don't want to talk to you anymore, and I don't know how to get out of this conversation. Or maybe they're just not weird at all, but they just talk so much, and it's like, okay, buddy, like, I'm so sorry, but I have to go. How do you get yourself out of that situation without being impolite, and you still respect them because you're not, being disrespectful in any way, and just be able to do what you need to do?
Right. Okay, so the person who talks constantly, who hogs the conversation and doesn't let you get a word in edgewise. I don't know this is true, but I have a feeling if you walked away, they might not even notice. So, but because they're just going on and on. Right. So if you have someone like, excuse me, like that's going on and on, and you are not interested necessarily in what they're saying. So keep this in mind. Just because people appear interested doesn't mean they are. They could just be being polite. So keep that in mind. That's
something so important you said that, because there's a lot of people out there, they just, it throws you off too, because they're like, they're really interested, but in reality they were really just being polite.
Yes. And so, because people, they've been trained to be polite, and I'm one of those people. You can talk for hours and hours, and I'll just be listening and nodding my head and all of that.
And you'll never know if it bothers you.
Right. So here's the trick, though. Really pay attention to what they're saying. Grab onto the thing that is of interest to you. And if they go off on a tangent into something that's not, if they're talking about what happened in the office today and you work across town, you don't care what happened in the office. But at the beginning of the conversation, they say they played tennis and you play tennis. You just simply go, I don't mean to interrupt, but you mentioned something a few minutes ago about tennis. Did you go to the opening that was in such and such a place? Get them on, into a that you want to talk about, and get that going. Don't let them get off onto, especially a complaining tangent. Don't, because a couple of drinks and a lot of people will go into turning things into a bitch session. You don't want to be part of that.
Right. It's true.
So you want to interrupt, pull them back into a topic that is of interest to you, that you can then have a conversation with them. And I'm going to say this, and some people are going to say, really? People who talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, you can interrupt them. It is okay to talk over the top of them and interrupt them. Because they don't have the switch or the skills to know when to stop talking. And sometimes you just have to do that. So now, if you really want to get away from them, really get away from them, you can do the evil thing and introduce them to somebody else. Make sure it's somebody you don't like.
See, I only do this for my sister. If it's wrong to do that, she's like, why did you just introduce me to them? I'm like, because I needed them to go away from me.
That's right. So you can turn them into somebody that you don't like and introduce them. And really, and especially this works for men, I am so sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have had 2 glasses of wine and I really have to get to the ladies' room.
Right.
And they'll go, oh, that's okay. And off you go. So, yeah. So with women, you're at the risk of them saying, well, I'll go with you. But that works excellently for a man.
That's so true. One would say that. Oh, no.
Yes. To get away from a woman, it definitely pull them onto a different tactic.
Okay.
Another way is to see if you can get them to move with you. If you can get them to move out of their spot, let's go get some food. I'm really hungry, or I'm really thirsty. Do you want to go get some wine? See if you can get them to move with you. And if they say, no, I'm good, you go, well, that's okay. I really do want to go get a glass of wine. So it was so nice talking to you. If you can get them to move with you, that's great, because they're starting to move through the crowd. They're going to get their attention caught by someone else. So that's another way to do it. And they'll more than likely, movement allows them to change their mindset and get off track. So
Right.
that's...
I mean, I agree. I mean, especially with women, that's something that's hard because you can't. Guy's not gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I'll go with you too." It's like, no, thank you, buddy. You know
Right.
what I mean? And you're like, "All right, this guy's weird. I just gotta go."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that's. I like how you said that. Get them to move with you. Because when you get them to move with you, you slightly will get distracted along the way.
Right.
Someone else will probably pop in the conversation, or you're getting food. Someone's gonna right next to you talk to you.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. That's powerful.
And pull your attention away, and you're not being rude,
right,
to not talk to them anymore, because now you're both standing in line to get wine. You get yours, and off you go. Or the same with the food. You're ahead of them, and you turn to the person in front of you and talk to them, and you get pulled into that conversation. I mean, that's what cocktail parties are all about. They're all about roaming conversations.
Right.
So they're not about a one-to-one. If you want a one-to-one, schedule a one-to-one, but don't expect to have a one-to-one at a cocktail party. That's not what they're for.
Right.
So you really should only be talking to people probably 2 to 3 minutes and moving on.
Right.
And not getting stuck into long conversations. It's not what they're there for.
Now, when it comes to networking, there's so many different networking events. There's so many different organizations, associations, embassy, everything. Like, what would you recommend as top digital marketing? That's when you know.
Yeah. You're tired.
What are top networking events you've been to, or you recommend, that are really good networking events that actually bring in the right kind of people? I know it's specified to each industry,
right?
But what have you found that were the most powerful ones where you got the most out of it? Because I know chamber events sometimes hold like 100 people, breakfast events. So which kind of events would you recommend?
And I think it goes back to your personality and the types of events that you do well in. Because I would have to say that there has rarely been an event where I have not met at least one interesting person that I really want to get to know better. So, and to me, that's a success. If I can find one person that I want to connect with, that's really great.
Right.
But it goes back to the type that you like. I love the 1-hour meetings where people get up and stand and tell me their 30-second commercial or their 1-minute commercial.
So like a B&I kind of thing, or Nexco.
Yeah, and there's tons of them. You don't even have to join, but almost
like Roundtable 2 or something like that. Right?
Yeah, just anyone where they stand up and tell me what they do,
right? Because
that right away puts them into my filter system. I don't have to go around asking people, and there's very few events, except a speed networking event, where you can get that information out of people in less than a minute.
Right.
Right? You're never going to do that at a cocktail party.
You're not.
What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? It's not going to happen. But in those kinds where you're sitting down and they're saying, everybody goes around and says that you know exactly what they do. And so they're in your filter system, and now you know, do I want to meet with them?
Right.
Or did they say something in such a way, you're not even just looking for industry or collaboration, did they do something or say something in such a way that it intrigued you, that they might be an interesting person to meet?
Might be a good connection to have.
Exactly. Exactly. So you hear that in that period. So, and then you get up and leave, and you've got their cards. Make sure you get the cards and start your connection process with the people that you like. Those are the ones I like the best. some people do like the cocktail party because it's casual. They feel that the people that they do meet they get more information out of them in a more casual, relaxed way. They're more real, more authentic in that situation than they are in a normal business setting. And if that's how you want to interact with people, then those are the types that you should go to, because you are going to get the biggest benefit out of that.
Right.
And you're probably not really going to like the kinds of meetings where people stand up and give their 1-minute commercial, because you're not getting enough.
Right.
You're not getting the personal touch out of them.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So
I would agree. It all depends on the person, especially the people you want to meet too. Like
Yes.
for me, what I've found effective is going to events. For instance, if I wanted a high clientele, or where would the top successful people be?
Yes.
I usually go to embassy events. Usually
Nice.
the embassy, especially the embassy annual events. So like, for instance, the Lebanese embassy had a yearly event. Basically, it's an annual event, only once a year. And my brother went to it, and he met like the CEO of the Middle Eastern Airlines. Like you met all these different top producers that it was like, wow, I didn't even know there were this many Lebanese doing really great things. And so those events I really love, because all the embassies they throw pretty powerful events.
I bet.
And they attract a lot of people that come to it. I also really love associations. Why? Because they're very specific to certain industries, like dental associations, I don't know, the home services associations, whatever that may be. Like, if you want that kind of clientele, they're going to be there, right?
Exactly.
I don't know how you feel about this, but maybe I'll ask that as a question instead, actually, from that aside. But yeah, the associations, embassies are really big. People are iffy on BNI sometimes, but I've found that BNI has really served me well as a business owner. Just really finding the right group for you.
Yes.
In reality, I'm sure you agree with me on this. Everything works. Everything works.
Yes.
Every strategy works. Whether you cold email people and you message them, or you go out and network.
Right.
This certain, in these groups or this group, it doesn't matter. They all work. It's more so, it's like what naturally speaks to you and which one are you most comfortable doing, if that makes any sense.
I agree. I think you do need, as you get into it, and if your network, because that's the whole idea, is you're meeting these people and bringing them into your network, that you can depend on them and they can depend on you for whatever you decide that relationship is. If you're not getting the introductions to the people you want to meet out of your network, you need to up your game as far as your network's game. So you need to get stronger, better connected people inside your network. So you need to go out and look for them. So you're right, the association is a great place to look for those. My target audience are sales managers. Sales Managers Association. That's where I need to be. So because those events, I'm going to be in front of all sales managers. What can be better than that? So yes, and like what you said, the Lebanese embassy. Perfect. So, and that's kind of a sideways move. Really, it is. It's a side. You're coming in on a commonality, because you just happen to have Lebanese in your heredity. I could go to the Greek one. Because my last name, Aivalotis, would get me in there pretty fast. So, yeah. But in reality, I'm more German. I've got German on both sides of my family, Greek only on one. I'd have a little bit harder time getting into that one. So
sometimes they're open to everybody, though.
Yeah, they are open to everyone, but it wouldn't be that commonality right away. My last name gives me that commonality really quickly.
Which then makes them want to relate to you quickly.
Yes, exactly. So that's a sideways move. That's not, so you're going in on a commonality. You already have a Lebanese history or Lebanese genetics, and so hopefully most of the other people at the embassy are there. You can say, oh, we're all Lebanese, and I can go in and go, oh, wow, we're all Greek. So
True, you could do that. Walk in, bring less.
That's right. Throw a plate. So, but you're looking, that's the crux of everything, is finding that commonality. If you walk into a building and you already have a commonality with everybody in the room, you're one step forward in your process already.
So just I guess thinking effectively and, strategically in what you want to do and who you want to network with.
Exactly.
That's a big thing.
Yes.
I love it. Now my next question to ask you, actually, it was really important. Now I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Oh, that's right. workshops and events. So I know networking is huge going to these events, but how do you feel about maybe someone who runs their own business or wants to get connected to the right people throw their own event? How do you feel about that?
I think throwing your own event is hard unless you have a lot of social clout.
Okay.
So if you already have a really strong network, really strong relationships, not just a network, because we all have networks, but really strong relationships with the people in your network who will come no matter what, because that's what you want. You want a group of like 25 people. This would be the ultimate, and you can do this. You want to build relationships with 25 people who will be there no matter what. So they're just, you're holding an event? What's it about? Don't know. Oh well, I don't care. I'm coming because you're having it. I will be there to support you no matter what.
Right.
So I went to an event last night. I wasn't really interested in the topic, but I knew one of the speakers. In these events, you don't know how many people are going to show up. You don't want it to be an empty room, so I went to support her. Turned out to be a really interesting event, or interesting topic. I met a couple of really interesting people. It turned out really good for me, but that's not why I went. I went to support my friend. So, yes, if you're going to throw an event, you want to make sure that you have the social clout to do it. Otherwise, you may be facing an empty room. So that's kind of the
So maybe do it when you're really well in with people and you actually have a good network and you're like, okay, I know there's going to be people coming to this event no matter what, so it's going to be good.
And then you encourage them to bring their friends and friends, and you can get a really big one going. But if you do it too early, before you have that social clout, you might be very disappointed.
No, I like that. What are big don'ts when it comes to networking? Like what would you say are the top 3 don'ts in networking?
Don't walk up to somebody, shake their hand, and give them your card.
Okay.
My theory is you should wait to give them your card until they ask you for it. And don't be insulted if you ask for their card and they didn't ask for yours. What you got was a pretty clear message that they do not see how you can work together.
Interesting.
And they're not feeling the commonality or the connection between you. So that's some language being spoken right there. You have their card. If you see it and they don't, definitely drive after that one-to-one so that hopefully they will agree to that, and then you'll be able to start building that relationship and they'll see it. But don't be insulted.
Wow. So usually when you ask for someone for their card, and if they don't ask you in return, that means they don't want to talk to you. Like they don't see
they don't see the relationship. Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What's number 2?
So number 2 is listen more than talk.
Okay.
Always. It's all about them.
That's a do. Okay.
That's a do. Right. So don't talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Don't hog the conversation. It's not about you. You're not going to build your business going out telling people all about you. It's not going to happen. You're going to build your business by listening to other people and learning about them. That's how you'll build your business. Don't do it backwards.
Right.
So
I like that. Now what's number 3?
Number 3. Not networking. Your first year of business especially, or your first time in a new position, or your first time in a new location, that first year is all about letting people know who you are and where you are. If you don't go out and meet people and create your relationships of the people around you, it's going to be a lot harder.
Right. It's longer.
So don't hide in your office. Get out.
Right.
Start meeting people.
I like it. Yeah. So, let's leave you with this last question. What's one advice you would give to women, specifically women, since this is a woman podcast?
All right.
How to be expert networkers. What's that one tip, just to kind of give them that push to keep moving forward? Okay.
Well, the first thing is take the word networking out of your vocabulary.
Okay.
It shouldn't be there because you're not truly building a network. You're building relationships. And if you're good at building relationships, you'll introduce the people you know to each other, and you will create that spider web that can be interpreted as a network. Nobody's in a silo. Keep those introductions going, those relationships going, and it just introduce each other just to do it. Go to lunch, invite 6 people that you don't think know each other that you want to get to know each other. And that's your invitation.
I like that.
I want to go to lunch next Friday at noon. Come with me and I'll introduce you to 5 people you don't know that I know.
Right.
And you'll be like, heck yeah, I want to meet 5 people I don't know.
That's something you did actually recently too.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
loved it.
Yeah.
And I met like some really cool women out of it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
A couple great men in that one.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Can't discount the men.
Yeah,
They're
that's
important.
right. So just get rid of the word network and get a different picture in your head. It's all about building relationships and building your circle of friends. So that's the first thing. The second thing is don't be afraid. Don't be after perfection. Just get out there.
Right.
Don't say, oh, I can't go out today because my hair didn't work, or I'm really tired today. I don't really feel like going to that event. Just don't stay that long. But you need to be out there and just give yourself, like we talked about earlier, give yourself a challenge. If you're tired or don't like that type of networking but feel there are people there that you need to meet, get in the room and meet them and then get out.
Right.
You don't have to stay forever. So that's the other thing is just do it. Don't be perfect. Don't say, oh, I don't have the clothes, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. Take your cue from some men that I've seen networking. They come in, they're not wearing business suits. They're wearing their jeans and a flannel shirt because it's
casual.
Yeah, it's casual. They're not tied up into all of that.
You don't need to wear that bow tie or that, tie
No.
or whatever. Just go in there.
No.
Because people like it when you're loose.
Right.
They feel more comfortable. They don't have
Exactly.
to be so like this, all
Exactly.
the time, like you gotta,
And authentic. So just know who you are and just get out there and show people who you really are.
Right.
And if you laugh too loud, laugh too loud. If you snort when you laugh, snort when you laugh. I mean, these are all things that are you. And I hate the term, but it's like your brand. It's who you are, and that's how people know you.
Right.
So just get out there and don't worry about it. It's not about perfection. It's just about connections.
Right, and being genuine when you do it.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Linda, coming out here.
Oh, absolutely.
Where can my viewers find you if they need more tips and advice on networking and maybe possibly use you as a coach, or who knows?
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes, because I do coaching. All right. So right now they can reach me at my personal email.
Okay.
Which is linda.aivalotis@gmail.com. That's the best place to reach me.
I'll have it up there at the end of the video so they can see it.
Okay.
Follow you.
Great.
Linda, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You did an amazing job. All right, guys. Email her. If you need help and you're anxious, whatever it may be, whatever problems you may have, just reach out to Linda. I think she can be the best person for you. She's helped me throughout the years I've met her, right? Like maybe a year or so. I don't know how long we've known each other for, but it feels like 3 years. I learned a lot from her. So stay tuned, guys, for the next interview. Have a good one.